We're really thrilled today to be joined by a burglar for hire, professional con artist, an expert in non-verbal communications, so watch how you're standing, deception and persuasion techniques. She's also an ethical social engineer. She's been inducted to the Infosecurity Europe's Hall of Fame 2022. She's giving her keynote speech tomorrow morning, Thursday, at 11:20. So please welcome Jenny Radcliffe.
Thank you for having me.
That's lovely. Well, maybe you can start. I mean, probably a lot of people know who you are and what you do, but maybe not really. So could you explain a little bit about what exactly it is you do?
Sure. So I'm a social engineer, and that's a hacker that doesn't use tech. And I have two specialisms, the psychology of scams and cons, as well as physical infiltration, which is where the burglar thing comes in. And that's the bit everyone focuses on, the physical side of it. And social engineering is the manipulation of people, the weaponization of human characteristics and traits in order to access unauthorized access, everything from private information, data, money, and even the buildings. So I put crews together and we set that up. Difficult to explain sometimes, difficult to explain to old ladies on trains. The actual title is Physical Penetration Tester, which I don't want to offend people with, but that's true. So I tend to just go with social engineer, and I'm hoping that one day the old lady on the train might know what that means if we keep talking about it enough.
It was brilliant. Obviously, you've come under some really weird scrapes. Really,
sure.
and you've told some stories in the past and things. But have you ever had like one of those moments where you thought, "Oh crap! I'm a goner. This is it. I'm like."
Well, the thing is, when you do what I do for a living, this is not that rare an occurrence. I've been chased by security guards and managers and cleaners and dogs, and we've been, electric shocks and tasers and things. You're often hiding in cupboards and on roofs and all that type of thing. So it does happen quite often. But I think the one that you're probably thinking about, I did a job in Asia where I was asked to get into a building, get into an office, and see if I could find an address in a diary. And I think it was a bet. The client was probably betting his friend, but it was an empty building, it looked fine. Got to the desk, found the business card, but then realised the security teams were coming. Now normally that wouldn't matter because you have a get out of jail free card and you can say, look, this is a test, and I'm paid to do it, and you call off the test, but I'd gone in a day early. And so I thought, well, there's no explaining this. I could see they had absolutely no sense of humour whatsoever, and I could see that they were armed. So I ended up hiding in the garden, pressed up against a wall, waiting for them to leave. That was pretty hairy, but there's been a few. I fell off a roof in Transylvania.
What was that about?
I was doing some surveillance.
Okay.
I've been on the roof for a while, taking some pictures, and I actually got a text off a friend, and she said, "Are you in London? Come for a cocktail emoji." And I said to her, and I was fine. The roof was quite fine. I said, no, on a roof, lol. And she said, "You're always on a roof." And then the world just turned upside down, and it was a good job. There was like a railing, and I banged against the railing. But I had a lot of time during that fall to consider my life choices. I think sometimes it'd be easier if I sold t-shirts or something for a living,
Do you find that there's like one particular skill set that you've got, or you've acquired, or you've developed that's really helped?
Well, after I did some big interviews and things, I got a lot of people asking me this. A lot of people, despite what I've just told you, want to do my job, right? And I always say to them, it's all fun and games till you fall off a roof, right? Everything's, it sounds great. And they ask what the skill is, and really there are two skills. The first one will be, you've got to be able to adapt on the job. It's tactical adaptability. So you've got to plan and plan and plan, but then be prepared to throw that plan away and go with whatever you've got. So, you pick something up, you follow a different person, you get a different access point that just presents itself. So tactical adaptability. And I think the second one is discipline. It's a hard job. You've got to be, I do less of the physical work because I'm not as young and fit and slim as I used to be. But it's the discipline to do the task and to leave and not sort of insert yourself into the story. It's about the client, it's about their security, and that's the most important thing. And I'm talking more about that tomorrow. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously you're a woman in this social engineering side. Do you find you get other women coming up to you going, oh, I really want to do what you do? And sort of, do you give them any advice or?
Well, I mean, I get lots of people saying they want to do what I want to do. I think they have in their mind that it's some kind of, and it is exciting and everything else, but I don't think they realise that you can sometimes fall off roofs and be tasered. No, I mean, I do, and I mean, advice to women is there's not enough women in the industry. I'm going to talk about that again tomorrow, but there's not enough women in the industry. I'm often asked if it's easier to sneak into places because I'm female, and the truth is that sometimes it's true, but the occasions it's not true is when the security guards are female. And so one of the biggest arguments for diversity in the industry is because we need people from all backgrounds, all genders, everything, to keep an eye on people who are doing malicious things, because sometimes I am overlooked because I don't look threatening. I might sound threatening if you hate Scousers, but I don't look threatening, right? And so actually women often spot a test going on, so I encourage them in with all the caveats that you might expect. But yeah, we need lots more women in the industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
It'd be great one day when that question just doesn't have to come up.
No, absolutely true, yeah. I mean, you was in the Channel 4 HQ, in the Hunted TV show.
I was in Hunted. I was in the only season of Hunted where we caught all the fugitives, and the public hated that because they want them to win, right? They want them to win the money. But I was in that in the Special Operations Unit, as well as open source intelligence, working in London. That's hard work. There was a heat wave then as well, and a month's filming. So yeah, we chased members of the public all over the country trying to stop them winning money. That makes you very popular, and we did.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously there's so many different types of breaches that you kind of exercise, and you obviously witness and you try and sort of like overcome or try and illustrate. Is there like a sort of a textbook breach that's like so textbook it's boring for you?
Do you know, the funniest thing is, whenever I'm interviewed, people always want to know the most dangerous, the most unusual. But I do, in my time, I calculated the turn of the year that we've probably done 600 buildings. That's me in a small team. So I've been going since I was really, really young. I mean, my first job I was only 7. I went along with my family. We're kind of in security, you might say. And they threw me over the fence into a zoo. People always want to know things like that. But actually, of those jobs, there are many jobs that are very routine. It's an office, it's some sort of business context. And actually, it surprises you sometimes. You've done all this planning, we've done all the research, I've looked at the company and the culture and all the key players. And we had one actually not far in a big shopping centre in London, which some of you might know if you're in the media very well. And it's enormous, it's like a city. We planned it for about 6 weeks. I had a team of 5, and we literally just walked through the door, and it was just an open office. I walked into the office, planted what we needed to plant, took the pictures, and walked out again, done in about 10 minutes. And you kind of feel a bit cheated that you didn't get to use all the stuff that you planned, But there are many that are quite routine. The ones that are not routine, I'll put in the book next year.
Yeah, so no, there's a book coming out next year. So
see the way I elbowed that one in. That's really good.
How do you feel? So you've been nominated, you've been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it's so exciting, and we're so really, really thrilled for you to be part of this. How do you feel?
Obviously it's a big honour, but I feel as if it's not just for me. It's because social engineering works with the people. Really, you should be in security to look after people. Like, why else would you be in security? So I feel like it's an acknowledgement of the kind of role that human security and human factors play in the business, and that finally the industry really recognises that it's the humans that we need to work with, it's the humans that are part of our defence, and that's really gratifying, because 15 years ago when I first started talking about this to tech crowds in London, I don't think that was the case, so I feel really proud. Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant, that's really lovely. So has anybody got any questions?
I'm Caitlin. I work for Expert Insights here in London. I was just wondering, are there any particular vulnerabilities that you notice coming up a lot? What are the most common mistakes that businesses are making regards to the security and when you're trying to get into them?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that happen all the time. People overshare on social media, so every time they have a cocktail or a burger or they go for a run. I mean, I think there's just in the news this week about a certain military putting everything on Strava. So we can identify what they care about, what they're worried about, patterns. So I think for us, years ago we used to have to camp out outside businesses and offices, listening in coffee shops and pubs to do our research. But now I can do all of that very quickly online. So oversharing on social media is the single biggest enabler of malicious social engineering, corporate and individual.
Yeah, so my name is Benjamin. I'm the deputy editor of Infosec magazine. One question I have for you: what would you say is the biggest unresolved issue within the industry that most irks you?
I still think we've got a huge way to go in terms of diversity and in terms of, as opposed to paying lip service to it, actually doing it and making sure people get equal opportunities and everything else. You know, you talk about the skills shortage in this industry, but we've got to make the spaces more welcoming. We've got to genuinely act and put our money where our mouth is, and I don't think that we've gone far enough for that. Diversity is the single biggest problem, and it's also the single biggest solution to being better at security. The more perspectives we have, the better we'll protect ourselves.
Hello, Brian Ward from Computer Security magazine. Hi. Have you ever been asked by Liverpool FC to check them out yet? And if you ever were or have been, who would you most like to chat to within the club?
Okay, so obviously I can't answer that. I can never talk about clients. I would say that if they did ask me, I'd be very happy because I'm a red, if that's the question. I get asked, are you red or blue? And in security, that's a whole different thing. So I'd be delighted to help them if they haven't asked me already. I'd love to talk to Mo Salah. Is my favourite player, I think. You know, now I've lost my name. I think Mo Salah would be my favourite. I'd protect him. Yeah.
Lovely. Any more questions? Yeah, great. Thanks.
So Simon from OTR Global, just going back to diversity, have you found anyone in the security industry who is doing a good job on diversity?
I think the whole industry is trying very hard. I think there's a lot more initiatives in the States, and I just think we need to keep going. I think we've still got a gap to fill. It's not for the ones who trying, but until we're there and until this question isn't relevant, which it is today, then it's obviously still an issue. So I think there's good. I see things like WISIS in the States and Black Girls Hack in the States, and really encouraging women in. And it's not just women. That's the thing. It's got to be all backgrounds. But you'll see, even if you look around today, that it's not as diverse as it could be. And so whilst we've still got to make that effort, it's still always going to be a factor.
And just finally, if you were going to give one person, as anybody who wanted to do what you do, what bit of advice would you give them?
The advice I would give them is the title of tomorrow's talk, actually, and it's fact and non-verbal. Deeds, not words. You've got to get the experience in. There's no point talking about it and not doing it. My job needs hands-on experience. So watch people, try and get the experience. You can't really learn everything through theory.
That's lovely. Well, thanks so much, Jenny.
Thank you.
Really, thanks everyone for coming, and really hope to see you at the keynote stage tomorrow at 11:20, where Jenny's going to be delivering her keynote. So thank you, thanks everyone. Thank you, and thank Jenny.
Thank you.